since you've been away.
DJ Payne 1.
Oh, come on.
I don't think that I'm coming back. Boy, I told you I'm done with that. You think you can do me so wrong? I'm not the one, no, I'm not the one. I don't think that I'm coming back. Boy, I told you I'm done with that. You think you can do me so wrong? I'm not the one, no, I'm not the one.
Hello, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the CEO Sports Show for September 4th, 2025. And the way we have to start this is we will be hearing that song later on tonight when the Dallas Cowboys play the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia on Thursday Night Football, starting the season. You just love to hear it. Now, that's pretty much where we're going to be taking this episode. I also want to talk about Garrett Nussmeier in the second segment of the show, but it's pretty much going to be dominated by Dallas versus Philly, which it should be. Next 2 days are really going to be dominated by Dallas and Philly just because of the magnitude of the game. It's the first game of the season, and that's what we're going to be talking about. Joining me in the back is my producer, Stefan Gonzalez. Steph, the producer. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing great, Kris. Doing great. Excited for football.
Hey, ain't that the truth, man? Ain't that the truth? So, okay, let's get started on today's episode. I want to talk about, because, I'm seeing all the predictions out there. Dallas is going to lose this game. Everybody's predicting the Eagles to win this game, which is fair, right? Eagles won the Super Bowl. Dallas, they were 7-10 last year, and they just lost Micah Parsons, and everybody's up in an uproar, and everybody's crying about it, which is, I understand that. But at the same time, to downplay what Dallas has on this roster and the threat they can, impose on the Eagles, I think is a little bit disingenuous. I am surprised that it's as skewed towards the Eagles as, it is, right? Because I think these two teams, one team I think is being overrated, and the other team I think is being drastically underrated. And when I mean overrated, because I'm talking about the Eagles, I don't mean bad team. I think people tend to mix that up. When I say overrated when it comes to the Eagles, I just mean everybody thinks that this team is a shoo-in to win the Super Bowl again. Don't even play the season. They're going to go back to back. And I don't look at them like that. I look at them as a Super Bowl contender. I look at them as one of the, maybe top 3 teams in the league. But I think that they're not as good as they were last year. I don't think that's a hot take. I mean, I don't know who would say that they were better than last year. I mean, last year, that was an excellent football team. I mean, that was a team that in the last 2 games of the year, they flat out blew out their opponents. So to say that the Eagles this year are better than they were last year, I just don't agree with that. And to say that the Cowboys are as bad as they were last year, I don't agree with that. I get it. They lost Micah Parsons. They lost some other pieces that they had on their team. But they also brought in Kenny Clark. They also brought in George Pickens. They drafted Tyler Booker. They brought in Dante Fowler. They drafted Donovan Ezeraku. Right? So for the losses that this team has had, I don't think enough people are talking about the additions and what those additions are going to mean to this football team. I mean, last time we saw Dak with a receiver like George Pickens, it was Michael Gallup in 2019. And look at what Dak did in 2019. I know that didn't necessarily equate to wins, but I think a lot of things were going on outside of the quarterback that led to that season being like that. Because, after you got some better coaching with Mike McCarthy, even though it's not great, better than what they had in Jason Garrett, they were able to win 12 games, 3 consecutive seasons in a row. So, I think they're being drastically underrated. I saw like a ranking that had Dallas as a 4th tier team in the NFC, 4th tier. And like teams above them were, I would have to see the teams above them, but like they're predicting that Dallas is going to be a bottom 4 team in the conference. There's absolutely no way you could tell me that this team is not being underrated. But see, here's my thing. All right, I want to get this out of the way. If Dallas does better than what's expected, I don't want to hear these Dan Orlovsky's types go on ESPN. They have no excuse to not win the Super Bowl this year, man. No excuse. Really? Preseason, you said that this wasn't a good team. Same thing with Colin Cowherd. Oh, well, Dallas, they need to win a Super Bowl this year. No, keep the same energy you did preseason. You think they're going to win 3 to 5 games is which I saw, which is just absolutely diabolical. Again, like some people have eyes and sometimes those eyes don't lie. When you look at this roster, I don't know how anybody can say they're a 3 to 5 win team. Unless they face big time injury, Dallas is going to win anywhere from 9 to 12 games. That's just the way I look at it. But when you look at this matchup, because I do want to get into the matchup, what does Dallas need to do to win this game? They need to protect the depth of the pocket, right? Like the depth of the pocket is the interior of the pocket. So BB, Smith, Booker, they need to hold up against those interior defensive linemen of the Philadelphia Eagles. They have to be able to be physical at the point of attack. And while, yes, Jalen Carter is a tremendous player, Cowboys have a tremendous player on their interior offensive line as well. Name's Tyler Smith. He's the best guard in football. I mean, this guy, in his first year playing guard in the NFL, was a second-team All-Pro. I don't think there is a guard in the NFL that an executive would take over Tyler Smith if they were given the opportunity to draft a guard. But that's besides the point. Both of these interior, both the offensive line for the Cowboys and the defensive line for the Eagles, they have some really good players on those units. So that's where I think the game is won. If Philly can do enough on the interior of their defensive line to get pressure on Dak Prescott and really cause havoc when it comes to their pass rush, it could potentially be a long night for Dallas. But if they can protect and they hold up and Dak's able to get the ball to Lamb and Pickens and Turpin and Ferguson and Tolbert and these guys, right? Then it's going to be a shootout, I think, right? The way the Cowboys can stop the run is they have to be able to put up points. And if they put up points and get Philly out of the structure of what they want to do, and yes, make Jalen Hurts throw the ball, put him in a position where he has to be in a shootout. I've seen it before. It hasn't looked great. That's how Dallas is going to win this game. They're going to have a big game from Prescott. Lamb and Pickens are going to have to do their thing. And to be honest with you, when I look at the secondary of the Eagles, when it comes to Mitchell and DeJean, they're really good players. Don't get it twisted. But Lamb and Pickens, I mean, they're the 3rd best wide receiver duo in football. Like I would put Cincy over them and I would put Philly over them. But right after them, it's Lamb and Pickens. And they have a quarterback in Prescott who's going to get them the ball, who can shred defenses over the air. That's going to be crucial for them. Brian Schottenheimer as well. He's gonna need to let the nerves and all the rust that he has as a play caller, he's going to have to kick that off early because they're going to need to put points on the board early. Last time we saw Prescott in an opening game coming off an injury was that 2021 game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He was fantastic. Prescott's going to have a similar game to that if the Cowboys want to win this game. Actually, I think even a better game than that, right? Can't turn the ball over in this game. You have to be consistently putting your team in a position to where you can put points on the board, because that's how the Cowboys are going to win this game. They're not going to be able to win this game by, hey, take this check down on 3rd and long and we'll just move the sticks that way. Like, not move the sticks. Get us into 4th down. We'll punt the ball away and our defense will play good defense. I don't think that's the way they're going to win this game. They're going to win this game by Prescott doing what Prescott does, and that's standing in the pocket, delivering the football fearlessly over the middle of the field, down the field, getting the ball to Lamb, Ferguson, Pickens. That's how they're going to win this game. But how is that going to work, right? Schottenheimer's going to have to dial some things up. They're going to have to get the Eagles in certain looks. They're going to have to use pre-snap motion to get favorable matchups, and they're going to have to protect. And also not just that, they're going to have to be able to run the ball at least 4 yards a carry. At least 4. Give the Eagles something that they at least have to respect, right? So the keys to the Cowboys offensively, it's make it happen over the air, protect, and be respectable on the ground. You don't need to dominate them. I don't think you're going to be able to do that. And defensively, to me, it's you just got to hope and pray. Like, you have to do enough against Saquon Barkley. If Saquon Barkley has 120 yards, right? And that's like, hey, he's not going to have any more, any less. If you were given that potential outcome, I think you'd take that. Because if that's the case, I mean, yeah, that's still a really, really good performance. But I've seen what Saquon Barkley can do. And what Saquon Barkley can do is he could put up 200 to 300 yards on the ground. Like, that's the type of guy he is. With the offensive line that the Eagles had last year, I've seen him be able to do that. But this is what I wonder, right? Let me check the injury report for this game. Sorry about that. I need to just make sure that Landon Dickerson is playing for this game, because he was out of practice on Tuesday, I believe it was. So full participation yesterday was Landon Dickerson. He will most likely be playing. He's going to play in this game. Okay, so when you look at the Eagles' offensive line, Mailata, tremendous player. Maybe the best left tackle in football. Maybe. Dickerson banged up a little bit. He has a knee and a back problem. Jurgens, Tyler Steen, and Lane Johnson. If the Cowboys are going to be able to make things happen, it's going to be by attacking that interior offensive line. The thing is with Landon Dickerson, he's a powerful offensive lineman. And offensive linemen who win with power like that, sometimes they can get a bit lungy. So when you have bursty upfield defensive tackles like Oso Digizua, maybe he can make some things happen there. Kenny Clark, I think, is a perfect fit for this Matt Eberflus scheme where they're in an attacking 4-3 front. Like, I think he's the perfect one technique for that, because Eberflus doesn't want one techniques that are 350 pounds and can't play the run horizontally. Kenny Clark can play the run horizontally. He has good range and he can get upfield. It's a perfect scheme fit. So defensively, you're just going to have to hope and pray. That just is what it is. And you got to hope that your offense can put points on the board. And do I think they can do that? Absolutely. Because I believe in Dak. I believe in this offense. And not only that, when you look at Dak's stats against the Eagles over the course of his career, you could say, oh, he doesn't show up in the playoffs, man. Well, they're not playing in the playoffs tonight. They're playing in a regular season game against the Eagles. Last 5 times they played the Eagles, 4-1, 16 touchdowns and 1 interception. He's completing over 70% of his passes. He's very comfortable playing against that football team. So it's going to be very interesting to see. Let me get Steph. Let me get your opinion on this. If Dallas wins this game, right? Why do you think they win this game?
Well, I think establishing the run early in this game is going to be crucial. I think not just establishing the run, but establishing outside zones. You know, Philly is a little light on the edges. They're definitely going to need to establish something to set up those play action passes. You know, what is Dallas going to do against Vic Fangio's cover 6 defense? Well, you have to run the ball, and you have to have the defense respect you. We faced the 3rd lightest box in the NFL last year, so we had to do something different than what we've done in the past. I know we've done set up the pass to set up the run. I think in this case, you have to be physical with this team. You have to be physical. You have to play horizontal. You have to get Jalen Carter moving horizontally, Jordan Davis horizontally as well. Don't run at them A gap, B gap, and make their life easier. Let's go horizontal. Like I said, the edges are smaller. And as far as defense, I mean, it's kind of hard. We don't really know what our team is. It's the first game of the week. But if we do want to win this game, we have to create pressure from the interior to get to cause disruption for Jalen Hurts and contain those B gaps where he likes to run through. I think I favor our team more this year than we have in the past because our linebacker depth is a little better than it has been. But it's still a tall task at this point, if you ask me.
See, here's the thing, though. When it comes to this game, I think that ultimately, when it comes to the Cowboys linebackers, I think that they're better than they've been in the past. And I think when you have a one technique like Kenny Clark who's able to hold up against the run, and those guys can penetrate those gaps and stay in their run fits and not have guards get to the second level like they've had in previous years with guys like Mozzie Smith and, Jonathan Hankins, who have struggled, playing the running with them. That's where I think they could potentially make things happen. But, I kind of agree. Like, here's the thing. I agree that it looks like a tall task, but I personally think that, again, these are two teams that I think people have different narratives about, and I think both of the narratives are wrong. Again, I think Philly is a fantastic football team. I'm not saying that, but they're not this runaway MVP or Super Bowl team like they were last year. Like last year, when they started to get rolling, it was pretty obvious like they had some real potential to just be an absolute juggernaut come playoff time. And then when you look at, Dallas, I think that they've improved their football team in certain areas. Now, they've gotten worse in certain areas, right? But I think that their pass rush this year is much better equipped to go and be effective without Micah Parsons than it was last year. So
I agree. And people are not mentioning that Philly did lose a lot of defensive keys. Milt Williams is no longer the team. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, which was their motor on the defensive side, is no longer there as well. Dory Jackson is your corner, and Kelly Ringo is part of the corner group, along with Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. So it's not the same team from last year. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm coming from with this, where, again, neither of these teams are the same teams, but I think it's going to be a better game than people think it's going to be. And I think it's very worthy of being the first game of the season. And there's a lot of people overreacting. Like, you can't have Dallas week 1, man. They're going to get blown out. You got to have the Lions. You got to have the Rams. You got to have this team, that team. Like, stop. This is a fantastic rivalry between the two teams, even though I think it's more Eagles hating the Cowboys way more than I think it's Cowboys hating the Eagles. Because it's funny, like, you see all these Eagles fans going to Cowboys fans chats. You guys stink. Dallas sucks. I never really see that with Cowboys fans to Eagles creators. It's kind of weird. Like, I actually, when I was doing some research on the game, I just have to call it what it is. I think that the objectivity from some of the Eagles reporters who are supposed to be objective reporters, I feel like they have to do a lot better with that. Me personally, it's kind of just like, am I reading a fan writing something up? But that's besides the point. Yeah, I think this is going to be a good game, Steph.
I agree with you.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to move on to the next topic. That's going to be Garrett Nussmeier and why I think he is the best quarterback in the country. Going into the season, I heard all these other quarterbacks being talked about as the best quarterback in the country. I heard Arch Manning is the best quarterback in the country. Lenore Sellers, DJ Lagway, Levitt from Arizona State. I heard all these guys are the best quarterbacks in the country. And then they played the games. All of them played week one. And it's very clear who the best quarterback in the country was. You want to know who the best quarterback in the country was? It was Garrett Nussmeier. It is Garrett Nussmeier. It's going to be Garrett Nussmeier this upcoming season. That guy is the best quarterback in the country. When you watch him play, that is a pro quarterback playing in college football. And when I look at the LSU Tigers, I love my Ohio State Buckeyes. Where is that? You see it. Helmet in the back. Picture of the stadium right there. LSU's a better football team than them. I don't want to play LSU. They are a fantastic football team. And it's because they have the best quarterback in the country that I think elevates their team. And not only that, they put him in a position to where they have the weapons on that team to be able to make some things happen offensively. They're physical at the point of attack in the run game. Defensively, they are much improved. But I want to get back to Garrett Nussmeier. I don't know what people were evaluating. Field Yates, I believe it was, had him as the 16th ranked prospect in the upcoming NFL draft. You want to know who we had at number one? Arch Manning. Why? I don't know. That's my thing. Garrett Nussmeier showed last year that there is real potential. He was a first-year starter for that team, and he showed some really promising things. Now, he had those game reps. He has game tape to watch. He's understanding some of the flaws that he made last year that were in his game last year. And now it's about, okay, I was a very good quarterback last year. How do I become a great one? And when we compare the other quarterbacks in the country, these are all very good quarterbacks. But let's not confuse very good with great. The only great quarterback in the country at the current moment is Garrett Nussmeier. Maybe there's other quarterbacks that prove themselves to be great quarterbacks. But Garrett Nussmeier, to me, stands head and shoulders above everybody else. And no matter what game LSU is in, I think I'm going to pick LSU. Because I'm going to say the difference in this game, because LSU has a roster outside of the quarterback that is as good as anybody's in the country. But the difference in the game is the fact that their quarterback can make big plays. He's experienced. He understands pre-snap how to get his offense in certain looks to take advantage of defenses. He delivers the ball on time. He's accurate. He has fantastic pocket presence. Pressure doesn't faze him. These are all NFL things that when I'm an executive, I'm saying, oh, great, Lenore Sellers, yeah, he has a ceiling that's as high as anybody you can find. But Garrett Nussmeier does all the things I want my quarterback to do. He makes the layups and he hits the three-pointers. And what I mean by that is all the underneath stuff. You're doing your slants, your hitches, your flats, all that, delivers the ball on time accurately. But he makes big throws down the field. And he's not afraid to test defenses down the field. He's a gunslinger, and my favorite kind of quarterback, but he's not a reckless gunslinger. I know last year we saw some times where it was like, oh, why'd you throw that ball there? But I don't think that's going to be the case this year. I think he is much improved as a quarterback, and they are going to be a tough team to deal with. And we talk about these guys that didn't show as much as Garrett Nussmeier did last year. Arch Manning played in 2 games. Number 1 prospect in the draft. Really? Seriously? DJ Lagway. Good freshman season. Lenore Sellers had some really good spots. Levitt, some really good spots. Klubnik. I think if anybody was to challenge Nussmeier for the top quarterback in the country, it's Klubnik. But I'm sorry, when you compare the 2 quarterbacks, I don't think there's much of a comparison. Klubnik's very good. He's not great. Garrett Nussmeier's great. And I think that is the difference between LSU and everybody else is we've seen them have great quarterbacks, right? Like Jane Daniels was a great quarterback. The offense put up a bunch of points, but they weren't able to win the type of football games that they wanted to win. They weren't able to get themselves in the national championship picture. Why? Because they didn't have the defense. Well, they have the defense this year. And yeah, I don't think the receiving core is as good as it was with Jaden Daniels when you talk about Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. I don't think they have first-round picks in this upcoming draft in their receiver room. It's not as good as what Joe Burrow had with Chase and Jefferson. It's not that. But it's enough with the defense that they have. Yeah, they don't have the type of receivers that they've had. But at least the Jaden Daniels team didn't have the defense that LSU has this upcoming season. Joe Burrow, when they won the national championship with Joe Burrow, they had the offense, they had the offensive weapons, they had the skill players, and not only that, they had the defense to make it happen. This year, their skill players are good enough, and their quarterback is great, and their offensive line, it's good, and they can run the ball. That was the key, right? Because what we saw from Garrett Nussmeier is a quarterback that was asked to carry the offense. And when you're asking a quarterback to carry the offense, sometimes you're going to see those decisions where you're like, why would you throw that ball there? That makes no sense. Why would you do that? Because when you're asked to carry the offense, it's a lot for the quarterback. There's not many quarterbacks in the NFL that can carry offenses. Even the top quarterbacks, like sure, you have your Lamars and Josh Allens who can carry an offense on the ground and throwing the ball. But even still, like you look at Lamar, he's had a run game to balance that out. Josh Allen, just a different type of player. But again, that shows you how rare it is. And even with Josh Allen, look at what he does. He turns the ball over a lot. So, but that's what I'm saying. Like that kind of is just what happens when you ask a quarterback to carry the offense. So this year, when I look at LSU, they have a run game that complements the passing attack. And I'm willing to say they have a run game. I don't care if it was one game. It was one game against a team that I think is going to win the national championship. Now, do I feel as confident in that pick? No, I don't, but I want to stick to my guns. I don't want to switch. I don't want to switch takes, but man, LSU, if you were to ask me right now, who am I most confident in? I'm most confident in LSU right now. I think they're the best team in the country. I think they have the best quarterback in the country. And I think they have a really, really damn good roster to complement that quarterback. So, Steph, I want to take this over to you. What's your take on Garrett Nussmeier when it comes to where you would rank him in the country?
Garrett Nussmeier, son of Doug Nussmeier from the New Orleans Saints. I mean, pro style quarterback, ready for the NFL today. I think he is as far as playing the quarterback position at a high level, I think he is, if you ask me, the best quarterback there is in the country. I think he's, and I think he's pro ready. He's the only pro ready quarterback I've seen thus far. That would be my assessment of him from week one. He's ready. I mean, you go into Clemson to Death Valley, and you go and you beat Clemson, stout defense. You go and beat them with, like you said, receivers that are not going to be in the first round. Able to elevate his team and get that victory was impressive. And like I said, pro ready.
Yeah, and not only that, they put that 18 on him. They put that number 18 on him, which at LSU that's a big deal. It's been, I forget the last quarterback who had that number 18. The name escapes me, but it's been a long time since quarterback wore 18 at LSU. Garrett Nussmeier's wearing 18, and it's for a reason. It's because of his leadership. It's because in that spot, I could tell you when Clemson was behind with that quarterback at the helm, that team was like this. Their demeanor will be all right because we got our guy. That's how they felt that entire game. And understand this, they could have won that game 24-10 because that was a touchdown that he threw that they ended up calling back. Absolute dot. And I think that's what Garrett Nussmeier can do that other quarterbacks in the country just cannot do. He can make throws under pressure in big spots against good teams on the road. It's the things that you want to see when you're a talent evaluator and you're an NFL scout that makes you say, oh yeah, we got a guy. And I want to check their schedule out real quick. I know this is bad radio. I'm sorry, but I just want to check out their schedule and see what we're looking at in terms of, well, I put 2 S's in LSU, but I want to see the big spots that they have. Okay, so they have Florida on September 13th. They have South Carolina October 11th. They have Texas A&M October 25th. They have Alabama, which is still a big game, November 8th. And they have Oklahoma November 29th. They also have Ole Miss. I don't think I mentioned them, September 27th. So he has a chance. I think that I personally think they win every one of these games. I think they beat Florida. That game is being played, I believe, at LSU. Yeah, they're playing that game at LSU. I think they beat Ole Miss. I think they beat South Carolina. I think they beat Alabama. I think they beat Oklahoma. And they'll probably play like Georgia in the SEC championship game, or maybe Texas, because even though, like Texas lost to Ohio State, that doesn't hurt their conference record. So it'll probably be one of those teams, and that'll probably be his Heisman resume, is that the fact that this is an undefeated football team and they won the SEC. So that's going to be it for the show, guys. I appreciate you guys for coming out. Football tonight. I can't wait. I will be back later after the game. I look forward to seeing all you guys, and I will see you guys in the next episode.